When comparing and contrasting China and America in their correctional systems, we have to first analyze the differences between the two countries. China is a communist country in East Asia, and it's one of the most populated countries in the world. America is a democracy, and it's one of the leading countries in this world, and it's very westernized. The history of the correctional system is pretty similar. Every community has experienced offenders and punishment since the beginning of time, and in America, most of the punishments consisted of executions until Quakers introduced the prison system to serve as a place for people to repent. China also experienced very harsh punishments from leaders who thought it would deter people from other crimes. Public torture, wooden collars, being cut into people, and many other intense punishments arise before we had the correctional system. Their ideologies also differ. In America, we have a set establishment of ideologies. We have the punishment ideology, rehabilitation ideology, prevention ideology, and restorative justice ideology. In China, they run on two ideologies. They have the tough-on-crime policy in the streets, and they have the rehabilitation through hard labor inside the prisons. The sentencing is about the same in both countries. Both countries have death penalties for the most heinous crimes. Minor offenses can get fined and shorter jail times. Both countries operate on appeals, and both countries have trials to make it fair. Both countries also make good use of intermediate sanctions, such as community service, house arrest, probation, and fines. One difference is that China does not have a restitution intermediate sanction, and America does. Their custody control also differs. America's custody control is 24-hour control ran by wardens, superintendents, correctional officers, and jailers. They have frequent lockdowns, head counts, strip searches. They are enclosed by electric fences. They have gun tower guards and all sorts of other things. China is ran by a warden and the administrative departments, but they also use preventive devices and weapons, and their location is remote and distant compared to America's prisons, which can be in the same town that people live in. In America, inmate rights have to do with religious activities, healthcare, smoking, and even educational programs. In China, they have the reform through hard labor, which means they have 8 hours of work every single day and 2 hours of study time. They are allowed to take holidays and weekends off, and they must have clinics equipped for inmates' needs and sports activities as well. In America, the male is the rising, more dangerous population. They get harsher sentences and they get worse treatment. Women are less at risk and less sentencing involved, and they're normally less violent. And there's more opportunities for parole for women in America. China, it's the opposite. Females receive very harsh punishments, and the highest rate of females of incarceration are in China. Facilities don't compensate for women's needs, and men have less rights compared to American inmates as well. And they have to work no matter what condition, and they also endure cruel punishments. Special category offenders. America has asylums for the mentally ill to go to, and the developmentally challenged have specific programs, and sex offenders are tested to be treated, but they usually fail treatment. And in China, mental health is still pushed aside, so there's not adequate treatment. And transgender abuse occurs as well because of the lack of understanding and respect in the prison system. Both countries operate parole, and every inmate has a chance to get parole. They have parole boards, parole officers, and special requirements to reach parole as well.